It's like a scene from a horror movie, but for real. You may have also heard about the scary report published by the Indianapolis Star, the story of LaToya Ammons and her family who are terrorized by 3 children who may be possessed by demons. Trust me, it's not easily forgotten. Let me take you back to that time. We are neighbors living in a modest neighborhood on the outskirts of town. LaToya is a single mother who works tirelessly to provide for her 3 children. Life is hard, but they manage to find joy in the humblest things. Little did she know that darkness awaited her family. The Indianapolis Star's reporting, based on official records and countless interviews, paints a truly disturbing picture. I remember studying the details, my heart racing with curiosity and fear. These developments are alarming and cannot be ignored. Witnesses, including Nurse Walker, testified to these strange occurrences at the Ammons home. One particular event gave me chills. A 9-year-old boy with a strange smile on his face is surrounded by an unknown force. It was as if an unseen evil had seized him and twisted his innocent features into something menacing. I cannot begin to fathom the sheer horror that LaToya and her family felt when they saw this otherworldly transformation. But this is just the beginning. That fateful night, LaToya's grandmother Campbell watched in disbelief as the possessed child defied the laws of gravity. He started crawling backwards up the wall, his little arms and legs unable to hold on to the vertical surface. It is a horrific spectacle that defies any rational explanation. I can only imagine the horror on Campbell's face as her grandson dangled in the air. There must have been a numbing silence in the room, broken only by gasps of disbelief. Then, in a terrifying display of supernatural acrobatics, the child turns again and again in defiance of gravity and lands on both feet. During this nightmarish ordeal, he never let go of his grandmother's trembling hand. It is a scene from a horror movie. A scene etched in the minds of anyone who witnesses it. However, the report did not end there. What follows is the harrowing story of a 12-year-old girl who suffered from the most cruel tortures. She described feeling like an invisible force was gripping her fragile neck, compressing her airways and preventing her from speaking or moving. Can you imagine the sheer terror coursing through her veins as she tries to make sense of this evil creature? But it wasn't just the physical attack that worried him. In her moment of despair and vulnerability, she hears a voice that is dark and evil. It whispered in her ear, an eerie promise to never see her family again. And for the next 20 minutes, a terrible fate befell her. Can you imagine the psychological torment she endured, trapped in her body, tormented by a being she could not understand? The authorities cannot turn a blind eye to these disturbing developments. Social workers, psychologists, and even a Catholic priest came to the Ammons home to find answers. They dug into the question, filtering through layers of fear and doubt. To their amazement, they found evidence, nearly 800 pages of official records documenting the horrific events that took place within these walls. Testimony from police, DC's staff, psychologists, family members, and a brave priest combined to paint a horrifying picture of a family consumed by the forces of evil. As I write this, I can't help but nervously look back and wonder if the dark forces have somehow found their way into my life. Part of me wants to believe it's a twisted fantasy, a product of a fevered imagination. But deep down, I know the truth is even more shocking. If you thought the horrors haunting LaToya Ammons and her family couldn't get any worse, think again. Reports from the Indianapolis Star only scratched the surface of the evil that had taken root in their lives. As I delved into their stories, I couldn't escape the feeling of dread that surrounded me like a suffocating fog. After the horrific incident of a 12-year-old girl possessing and torturing a 9-year-old boy, it's clear that something truly sinister is at play. The Ammons family finds themselves in a nightmarish cycle of supernatural torment as their lives are consumed by unfathomable forces. With each passing day, this sense of presence grew stronger, casting a dark cloud of fear over the entire family. Objects would inexplicably move on their own, hit walls, and shatter with unusual force. The air seemed to be frozen with a terrible energy that would suffocate anyone who dared enter their home. Shadows dance on the walls and whisper soul-shattering secrets. Desperate for comfort and answers, LaToya turned to the authorities, but their efforts only seemed to stir a hornet's nest in the dark. It was the Catholic priests who began to take an interest in their situation, recognizing the signs of a spiritual struggle that transcended the realm of the flesh. Armed with faith and a deep understanding of the paranormal, the priest ventures into the darkest corners of Ammon's house. The air crackled with excitement as he performed ancient rituals and invoked the power of divine intervention. But even he could not have predicted the intensity of the evil he would face. In a decisive exorcism attempt, the foundations of faith and reason are completely shaken. The possessed children thrashed violently, contorting their bodies in unnatural ways, their voices turning into supernatural roars that seemed to come from the depths of hell. The priest stands strong as a beacon in the light of overwhelming darkness, determined to free the family from the clutches of evil. But evil is ruthless, and it fights with unsurpassed cunning and fury. As the exorcism continues, the evil forces retaliate. The priest himself was also shocked, his body torn apart by an invisible force that seemed intent on suppressing his prayers. It is a harrowing battle, an all-out war between good and evil, fought in the shadows of a house that has become a battlefield for souls trapped inside. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months as the Ammonites had hope. Their spirits wavered, but never wavered. As the exorcism continues, the family is forced to endure the relentless onslaught of dark forces. But little by little, like a flickering candle in a dark room, light begins to penetrate shadow. With each encounter, the grip of evil weakened, its power weakened in the face of steadfast faith. Finally, one day, the darkness freed LaToya and her children. The malevolent presence that has long plagued their lives recedes from whence it came, into the abyss. Today, the Ammons family still bears the scars of their painful ordeal. The memories of these unforgettable days will remain in their hearts forever, but they testify to the indomitable spirit of humanity and the strength of faith in the face of unimaginable horrors. As I tell this story, I can't help but wonder about the veil that separates our world from the unknown. What happened to the Ammons family is a reminder that evil can manifest itself in ways that are difficult for us to understand. It is a reminder that there is darkness lurking in shadows, waiting to prey on the defenseless.